We'll sometimes hear people speak critically of elected officials like the president for being so focused on the next election or on voters' opinions. It's important to understand that focusing on voters' opinions of policies is the same thing as focusing on the desires or the will of the co-owners of this country. Let's get back to our example of universal public service after high school. Let's say that the president decides to go forward with this idea. Since the laws of America, which have been written by the Congress, do not allow the president on his own to create such a program, he or she would have to try to change the law. The staff members of the White House and the Department of Defense would have to lobby the senators and members of Congress and their staffs in an attempt to get the support of a majority of them. If the president considers this to be one of the administration's most important issues, the president may choose to personally lobby the issue by trying to persuade senators and members of Congress. Time out for an interesting fact. The term to lobby is extremely important to America's democracy. It means trying to convince a public official about a public policy issue. You won't believe how the term began. It started when President Ulysses Grant would regularly go for dinner to a hotel near the White House, the Willard Hotel, which is still there. People wanting him to change something in government began waiting to talk to him in the hotel lobby. Just as people involved in art are called artists and people who play the piano are called pianists, Grant kiddingly called these people in the lobby lobbyists. The term stuck. To effectively play our role as co-owners of this democracy, we should each be good lobbyists on those subjects on which we have some knowledge and experience. As your elected officials will tell you, it helps them make better laws and public policy if their voters help them understand which things in this country seem to be working and what things don't. You would be surprised how frequently the evidence which tips the balance of an elected official's decision about a major government program comes from the opinion of an average citizen. Now that you've learned about lobbying and that we should all be lobbyists, let's get back to our example of compulsory national service. On a major issue like this, the White House would help the president carry to the country his message about the value of this program. Citizens would then be able to help their representatives in the House and Senate better understand the program. If the executive branch cannot get a majority of both the House and the Senate to pass a law allowing compulsory national service, the idea dies. On the other hand, except in very unusual circumstances, if a majority of the House and Senate is secured, the law gets passed, and the president has authorization to proceed with a new program. The department in charge of implementing the new program, in this case the Department of Defense, begins a rulemaking procedure. This rulemaking procedure, in essence, allows the affected parties to present their suggestions as to how this program can most effectively be implemented. Since you co-owners of this country are affected by government policies, you should feel free to get involved in this rulemaking part of your democracy as well. Once all of the citizens and other experts have explained their positions in person and on paper, the executive branch proceeds. This completes the president's public policy process.